सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ओम ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवत्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम्। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। Let's take a sankalp. Okay, so we have almost completed the study of the individual, the analysis of the individual, the jiva vichar, right? So we started with the topic of shariratrayam. We analyzed the jiva based on the three bodies, based on the raw material of the bodies. So how the personality was divided based on the raw material, the shariratrayam, that is sthula, sukshma, karana shariram. After that, we saw the three states of experience that a jiva undergoes: the Jagrita avastha, Swapna avastha, and Sushupti avastha. And finally, we saw the division, the functional division of a jiva's personality, that is the Pancha Koshas. So, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. So, last time we concluded the topic of Anandamaya Kosha, right? So, I just want to add a little bit on the Anandamaya Kosha before we enter into the topic of Atma. So, we saw that a conducive mind is necessary for Ananda, which is our true nature, to reflect in the mind, right? A conducive mind or a resolved mind is necessary. So it is in a conducive mind that this Anandamaya Kosha, it spontaneously manifests. Okay, it is spontaneously felt. But just an added note that this experiential happiness that we get, no, this experiential happiness also has got gradations. Means if the mind is conducive, then I am happy. If the mind is more conducive, means I am happier. If the mind is most conducive, means I am in the happiest state. So they give an example that when I see a liked object, okay, when I see something that I like, something that is ishta to me, say in a shop, maybe I like a phone or a watch or a jewelry or a dress or anything, okay? So say I see something in a shop which I have been looking for a long time. So that very sight brings ishta darshana janya sukham. So darshana of my favorite thing. Okay, even if it is window shopping of that object, I don't possess it yet. It is just, I'm just the sight of it. The darshanam of my dear object gives me joy. it makes me happy. So that is the first stage, the first gradation. Now the second is, I go in that shop, I purchase it. So before that, the watch belonged to the shopkeeper. Now I have purchased it. I own it. So now I am happier because now it is under my control, that object. I can use it. I can enjoy it. Okay, I have this sense of possessing that object. So that is called �İşṭ-grahanam janya sukham. That is the second stage. Ishta means favorite, something really dear. �İşṭ-grahanam janya sukham. Grahanam means possessing that object. So the joy that I get by possessing or grasping or owning something, that is the second stage. So now, first I was happy looking at it. Now I'm happier possessing it. Then I start exploring that object. I understand it. I use it more and more. So then I reach the third stage, the third gradation of sukham, which is anubhavajanya sukham. That is the happiest state, experiential happiness. So happy, happier, and happiest means the 3 degrees. Okay, the positive, comparative, and superlative. 3 levels of happiness. This is just for information that Shastra calls these 3 levels of happiness as Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. So Priya is the happiness that arises in one from the mere sight of the desired objects. That is Priya. Then comes Moda. Moda, the happiness which one enjoys when he possesses the desired objects, the Ishta object, right? And Pramoda, the happiness which one gets from the actual enjoyment, actual anubhava of the desired object. Okay, so Priya, Moda, and Pramoda state. A state is also called vritti in Sanskrit. Okay, so these 3 gradations are called Priya, Moda, and Pramoda vrittis. So Atmananda, or the Ananda, which is my true nature, that Ananda gets reflected in our mind in these 3 states. In Priya state, Moda state, and Pramoda state. So these 3 states are actually treated as 3 different states of the Karana Shariram. So you can actually say that they are 3 different states of the resolved mind. So various degrees of the resolution of the mind. Because Karana Shariram is capable of borrowing and reflecting the Ananda, which is my true nature, right? And based on the resolution of the mind, we enjoy the degree of happiness, the degree of Ananda. It could be Priya, Moda, or Pramoda. Okay, that is called the Anandamaya Kosha, when we enjoy that happiness. So is this clear? The degree of resolution of our mind brings degree of resolution, brings degree of happiness.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
So this was with this we finish the Anandamaya Kosha. So this Priya, Moda, and Pramoda was the last topic that I wanted to discuss. ठीक है. Now, if no questions till now, then we can go further. Any questions? Yeah. You can unmute and ask.
Yeah. I'm probably thinking aloud. Can I translate this whole thing into we talk about Sthul Sharir, Sukshma Sharir, Karan Sharir. So our experiences are those Sukshma Sharir carries after our, when we leave our body, Sukshma Sharir carries. And Karan Sharir, you're saying that that Anand travels to the Karan Sharir. It's because that resolution of mind lets you experience that Anand, happiness. So it travels to the Karan Sharir. So can I think of it that when this body is gone, and but Sukshma Sharir remains till Pralay and Karan Sharir remains, and effectively Karan Sharir is what actually the new body that will take. So is that what will get carried over to Karan Sharir? Because when I think of a lot of people, like where you were talking about prodigies. So when I think of people who have excelled in their careers, or who are the whole world knows them, and they are so sorted in their head that crisis happens with actually everybody, but then they handle it so well. So is it that, Anand, that they have carried from the previous janam or something?
So it's not necessary that they have carried that from the previous janma. The resolution of mind could happen in this janma also, right?
Okay.
So our understanding, our maturity, yes, a lot of it comes, but a lot of it we create in this.
Okay.
This janma also, right? We have so many actions that we have done, especially a lot of thinking that we do. So all that gets registered, no, as samskaras.
Right.
And what that, so the resolution does not necessarily come from the past janma.
Okay.
It could be this janmas also. It could be past janma strong samskara also, like no doubt about that. But it could be this janma also. It's not necessarily only past janma.
So in my mind, I was like, this janam is probably too short to like completely reach that resolution. So maybe you will have to carry it from your previous janam to reach that resolution.
No, it is not like that. It can happen in a moment. You just need to understand this. So don't. It will give you more confidence if you start having the faith that this janma is not short for that. So moksha is possible here and now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks.
So more the resolution, more clearly the ananda from within can reflect in the mind. That's the only, like in very, very simple words, if I have to explain.
Okay.
As we see further, no, you will get so much more clarity about ananda, how ananda reflects and all.
Right. Thanks.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
So these all the different koshas are step-by-step process, or like if we need to understand Pranamaya course, we need to understand Anandmaya course first, and then we can understand Pranamaya course. Is it like that, or we can understand any of the kosha at any time?
You can understand all the 5 koshas simultaneously only, because it is simple, no, like Annamaya kosha is what? It is your physical body, the anatomical body. Pranamaya kosha, the physiological body. So obviously all your physiological functions and your body, physical body, you can understand at the same time, right? Why they are given as levels, or like, so many images also when you see of the Panchakosha, you see that Annamaya, they show as the, the smallest, the physical body. Then there is a layer outside. Then there is a layer outside. So it's not necessarily like that. It's just that Annamaya Kosha is the grossest. It is the stoolmost, right? It is so tangible. Pranamaya is more subtler. It is more sukshma than the Annamaya Kosha. Then if you go to Manomaya, it is even more sukshma. It is even more subtle. And finally, lastly, like Vijnanamaya more subtle and Anandamaya is the subtlest. That is how they show these koshas. And actually, 𝐒𝐻𝐼𝐺𝐲, the correct, so the ideal condition is when all these pancha koshas, they are in an alignment. Matlab, whatever you are, whatever is going on in the Vijnanamaya kosha, your Manomaya kosha is completely aligned to that. So obviously, whatever your thoughts are, your Pranamaya will be aligned to that. And when your Pranamaya is aligned, then obviously the Annamaya will be aligned to that. Now, when all these are aligned, then you completely enjoy the Anandamaya kosha. The Anandamaya spontaneously manifests itself. When there is a conflict, just say, suppose we are telling a lie, okay, just for an example. There is a conflict. Why? Because the Vijnanamaya kosha, means your intellect, it knows that there is a lie going on, right? There is something wrong. We know that because we know what is dharma. Everybody like spontaneously knows it. Atmani pratikulani anyana na samachare. So there is a conflict, but the mind is Manomaya kosha is getting maybe tempted by some desire. So the Manomaya kosha is lying. So this first conflict is between the Manomaya kosha and the Vijnanamaya kosha. Now this conflict then reflects on our Pranamaya kosha. You observe that whenever you are angry or whenever you are telling a lie also, okay? How do these lie detecting machines and all work? They put these whatever wires and all that on your body. They measure your breathing and all that. They measure the pulse, and according to that, they come to know that there is a lie going on. So the Pranamaya gets affected by it, and definitely we know everything about psychosomatic diseases and all. So whatever is going on in the Manomaya, whatever is going on in the Vijnanamaya, it affects your Pranamaya, which indirectly affects your Annamaya kosha. So all of them are connected like that. And once all these four are resolved, okay, once all these four are at the same level, they are aligned, then obviously the Anandamaya kosha, it will beautifully reflect, right? It will beautifully manifest. Is this, does this answer your question, 𝐒𝐻𝐼𝐺𝐲?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
So we go further. So until now, the topics of Tattva Bodha, okay, not the entire background study, but the topics of Tattva Bodha that we have already seen are firstly the Sadhana Chatushtayam. Remember the Sadhana Chatushtayam, the fourfold qualifications: Vivek, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. Very important, please memorize these, okay? I'm sure if you have forgotten. So the fourfold qualifications, then we saw the Shariratrayam, the threefold body, then Avasthatrayam, and finally we saw the Panchakosha, the Panchakosha Viveka, division of individual based on function, the personality layers based on function. Okay, and we also saw that this Shariratrayam and Kosha Panchakam, they both refer to the same personality only. So Shariratrayam itself looked from another angle, that is Kosha Panchakam. And now it is the time to study this very, very important, most important topic, which is Atma. So Atma is translated in English as I, okay? Capital I, or the self. The self with the capital S. Some people translate it as soul, but we would like to avoid that translation because that translation creates a lot of confusion. We don't call it soul because the word soul is used in different meanings in different contexts. Just say, so many times the word soul is mistakenly used for Sukshma Shariram also. कितने बार ऐसे बोलते हैं ना कि the soul left the body. Atma never leaves, okay? So it is very confusingly used. So we should avoid the use of the word soul. We will use the word Atma or Atman. Both are the same. Okay. Now, from the previous topics, we come to know that all the three bodies, okay, the Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, and Karana Shariram, all these three bodies, they are made up of matter, right? If you remember from our past discussions, we said that Sthula Shariram, the gross body, is made of gross elements. The Sthula Panchabhutani, remember? Akash, Vayu, Jala, Agni, Prithvi. Remember the 5 elements, no? Space, air, fire, water, and earth. Okay. So the gross body is made out of these Sthula Panchabhutani, gross elements. And since all these elements, they are matter, correct? They are Jada Padartha, correct? In Hindi, if I have to say them, they are Jada Padartha, matter, all the elements. So the gross body, also we can say it is made up of matter. It is material in nature. Anything made up of matter is called material in nature, right? Bhautika, it is made up of Bhuta, Panchabhuta, so it is Bhautika or material in nature. Material means product of matter. So the Sthula Shariram is Panchabhautikam. It is material in nature. Similarly, we saw Sukshma Shariram or the subtle body, that is also made up of 5 elements only, but 5 subtle elements. So again, the Sukshma Shariram is also Panchabhautikam only. It is a material body only, just subtle matter, but yet it is a material body only. So we say that Sukshma Shariram is also Panchabhautikam. So gross body is material, subtle body is also material. Both are Panchabhautikam only. Then we saw that the causal body, the Karana Shariram, that is nothing but the seed form of the gross and the subtle bodies. So before the gross and the subtle bodies are generated, they are in the Karana Shariram. So they exist in the potential form in the Karana Shariram only. So potential gross and subtle bodies, they exist in the Karana Shariram. So Karana Shariram is also what? It is potential matter only. Correct? So Karana Shariram is also Bhautika Shariram only. That is also material body only. But Karana Bhautika Shariram, it means causal material body, potential material body. So with this understanding, we arrive at one conclusion that all the 3 Sharirams, the Shariratrayam, that is material in nature. It is matter, means it is Jadam, right? It is Jada Padartha. This has to be very, very, very clear, because once we understand that the 3 Sharirams are Jadam, then we have to derive certain important conclusions or corollaries out of this understanding. Okay? So is this clear कि all the 3 Sharirams, they are made up of matter, hence they are material in nature, hence they are Jadam. Is this clear or is there any doubt? ठीक है. Okay. So now we know that any matter or material, it is inert in nature. Do we know that or not? Like any matter, एक लोहे का टुकड़ा लेंगे. Is it inert or is it sentient? It is achetan, right? It is insentient. It is inert in nature. So any matter or any material that is inert in nature, you have to fix this in your mind. Okay, we see it all the time that matter is inert, but we do not apply it in our understanding. Now, according to Vedanta Shastra, the definition of inertness is what? Inertness is something which does not have consciousness and which cannot produce consciousness. मतलब उसके पास चेतन तत्व है भी नहीं और वो चेतन तत्व प्रोड्यूस भी नहीं कर सकता. In Sanskrit, we call it, we say that inert material, jadam, is something that is neither chaitanya gunakam nor chaitanya janakam. Means chaitanya gunakam means it chetana tattva or sentiency is not its attribute. Okay, it's not its guna also. And jada tattva is something that cannot even produce chetan tattva. Means it is not even chaitanya janakam. Okay, so chaitanya gunakam means it does not have consciousness of its own, and chaitanya janakam, it is not chaitanya janakam, means it cannot produce consciousness of its own. Clear? It does not have consciousness, it does not produce or generate consciousness. Itna clear? What is inert? What is jadam? Okay. Now, since we saw that Shariratrayam is also material in nature, it is matter only. That means Shariratrayam also does not have consciousness of its own, nor does it produce consciousness. It is matter only. So according to the Shastras, all these three sharir, our sthula sharir, our sukshma sharir, and our karana sharir, all these three sharirams, they are inert, they are insentient, they are achetan in nature. Okay. This is a very important understanding that all these three sharirams are inert or insentient, which means not only the physical body is inert and insentient, but according to the Shastras, even our mind, being a part of the Sukshma Shariram, mind is also inert matter only. So mind is also insentient only. It is not Chetan at all. It is inert. It might come as a surprise, but this is the fact that mind is also inert. It is matter only, subtle matter. So inert. Therefore, according to Vedanta, mind also doesn't have its own consciousness. And mind also cannot produce consciousness. And same way, Karana Shariram also being causal matter, it is also Jadam, inert. It does not have consciousness. So the conclusion is all three bodies are intrinsically insentient. They are achetan, they are jada, they are inert. Okay, I'm just using so many words to emphasize how inert these three sharirams are, how jada, how achetan, insentient, the three sharirams behind which we give so much importance to them. They are inert, they are insentient. This is the corollary that we get from the study of the three bodies. Okay, now, even though this is the logical corollary that yes, even though like the three bodies are insentient, yes, we have logically arrived to that conclusion that yes, logically देखने जाए तो ये तीनों शरीर अचेतन है, जड़ है, inert है. But our experience is totally different, no? We experience that the three bodies are absolutely chetan, they are sentient. We don't see the three bodies as inert, right? Pinch anywhere on your body and you come to know that, Arey, I am sentient. Yeah? The body is sentient. So we keep seeing that, like our experience is that there is a chetan sthula shariram. We experience the body, the physical body, as a conscious body. So body which is conscious of its surroundings, the temperature kya hai abhi, conscious of mosquito bites, conscious of everything. The physical body is conscious. So logically prove kiya hai humne that the Shastras have logically proved that, oh, the physical body is insentient. But experientially, we are feeling that there is a total contradiction only. We feel that we are sentient. Again, Shastra is saying that the mind is also insentient. But our thoughts, we are so conscious of our thoughts, our memories, our doubts, everything related to the mind. So, in short, basically, our experience is that the Shariratrayam is sentient, in spite of the Shastras logically proving that the Shariratrayam is insentient. Now, how to reconcile these two, diagonally opposite things? How do you reconcile? How do you clarify these two? Logically, Shariratrayam is insentient. Experientially, Shariratrayam is sentient. So, how do we resolve this seeming contradiction? So, Vedanta Shastra says that this is possible. So, let us take an example. Suppose we know a lady, okay, who is not wealthy at all, okay. We know for the fact that she does not have any good clothes. She does not have any jewelry at all, okay. Now, this lady, she gets invited to some fancy function, okay, some luxurious function, maybe the Met Gala or something like that. And this lady, there she comes wearing really expensive clothes, okay, and she's decked up with fancy ornaments. Now, since you are aware that this lady, I mean, you know her, so you are aware that this lady does not have any of these things of her own, right? Uske paas ye fancy clothes bhi nahi hai, jewelry bhi nahi hai. So what can you easily conclude? कि उसके पास का ये खुद का कुछ नहीं है. That means this lady has borrowed these luxury items from somebody. These are not her own. Another example, I mean, we know a person's bank balance is hardly anything. Okay, we know this person, we know his bank balance, and we know कि actually कुछ भी नहीं है उसके बैंक में, उसके पास कुछ भी पैसा नहीं है. And then suddenly we see him buying a fancy car. So we can easily derive that this person has borrowed money from someone or somewhere to buy that car. It is simple to derive that, right? So in the same way, the Shastram points out that the Shariratrayam, they do not have Swabhavik Chaitanyam, okay? That means it does not have inherent consciousness. They have Agantuk Chaitanyam, means borrowed consciousness. The Shariratrayam ke paas khud ka consciousness nahi hai. They are Jadam. They are not Chaitanya Gunakam or Chaitanya Janakam. So that means that they have borrowed consciousness. Okay? They have borrowed Chaitan Tattva, borrowed Chaitanyam. And with this borrowed consciousness, the Sharira Trayam goes around so proudly doing so much nautanki, no? So basically, the Sharira Trayam is Jadam, and the Sharira Trayam has got borrowed consciousness. If this Sharira Trayam didn't borrow this consciousness, then there would be no difference between a doll and our physical body. Okay, a doll or a statue or a mannequin and our physical body, same, no difference. The statue is also made up of chemicals or elements, right? The body is also made up of chemicals or elements. So from Shastric angle, we say that the body is made up of pancha bhutas. And from scientific angle, we say that the body is made up of chemicals or biochemicals. Okay, both the statue and the body, they are nothing but a bundle of chemicals only. Okay, so we can, whether you take it from the Mendeleev's periodic table or the Pancha Mahabhutas, okay, both the statue or the doll and our body, they are made up of these chemicals only or these elements only. So now the obvious question comes that if both, if the statue is also a bundle of chemicals, if we are also a bundle of chemicals, then how come the statues are insentient and jivas are sentient? How is that? How is that a statue is not Chetan and we are Chetan? तो obviously दोनों same ही material से बने हैं, तो ये क्यों है? So the answer is jivas enjoy and reflect the borrowed consciousness, while the statues do not. Okay, we'll see how it borrows, how it reflects and all that. But we have the material to reflect. जैसे एक दो चीजें हैं, एक book है और एक mirror है. If you have both these things, okay, if you try and look at your face, like put a book in front of you, will the book be able to reflect your form? No, but the mirror will be able to reflect your form. So the mirror has that medium, has that material to reflect, while the book does not have, it lacks the reflecting medium. Therefore, it cannot reflect your form. Okay, so all these things that we see, the statues, the dolls, everything that we see is insentient. They cannot borrow or reflect this consciousness. Okay, this sentiency, the chaitanyam, while jivas can. So let us, too many things have happened, so let us quickly just revise these stages of development once again. Okay, how we have arrived at this borrowed consciousness. Okay. Yeah. So first we said that the Sharira Trayam is Bhautikam. That means it is made of elements. That is the first understanding. Okay. Now elements are inert in nature. Therefore, Sharira Trayam also has to be Jadam or inert or insentient. That is the second step. Okay. First is Sharira Trayam is material. Second is elements are inert. Therefore, Sharira Trayam also has to be inert because Sharira Trayam is made of inert material. But we experience that Sharira Trayam it appears to be totally sentient. It appears to be conscious. So we reached the conclusion that Shariratrayam has borrowed consciousness. ठीक है? इतना तक एकदम super clear? Then we'll go ahead. ठीक. Any doubt so far? Like this development is clear, no? Logically, experientially, everywhere it is clear. ठीक है. So with that much clarity, let us move further. We said that the Shariratrayam has borrowed consciousness. Okay, borrowed Chaitanya. Now, if Shariratrayam can borrow consciousness, that means there is a lender also of that consciousness. Because borrowing is possible only when there is a lender. कोई देने वाला होगा तभी हम ले सकेंगे ना. So this lender, okay, of consciousness, this lender is the fourth factor in the human personality. The first factor of the human personality is the Sthula Shariram. Second factor is the Sukshma Shariram. Third factor is the Karana Shariram. And all these three factors, Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Shariram, are the inert factors of our personality. So other than these three inert factors, there is a fourth factor, which is the lender of consciousness. The factor which lends consciousness to these three jadam, these three inert factors of the human personality. Tattvabodha says, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha, means it is the fourth thing which is other than the Sthula Sukshma Karana Shariram. That is the fourth factor. So now the obvious next question is that what is this fourth factor? Who is the lender of that consciousness? And then comes the hero of our movie, the hero of our entire Vedanta course, the Atma. So the Atma is that fourth factor in the human personality, which we always ignore, which is the lender of consciousness to the first three Jada factors, the first three inert factors, the Shariratrayam. So it is this Atma that makes the Shariratrayam alive with consciousness. Atma makes the Shariratrayam sentient with consciousness. The example that I always take for easy understanding is that of a bulb, okay? A light bulb. The bulb by itself is just a bundle of elements. Only when it borrows electricity, it glows. So the bulb or the filament, it cannot glow by itself. The electricity makes it glow brilliantly. Right? That is and the thing is that this electricity that enlivens this bulb, the electricity is, sorry. Padmini ji, could you mute yourself? Thank you. Oh, you have a question?
No, madam.
Okay. Could you mute yourself, Padmini ji?
Let
me see if I can.
No, madam.
Okay, I'll try.
No. I'm not asking.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So the thing is that this electricity which enlivens the bulb, that electricity is invisible. Only the glowing filament and the bulb, they are visible. So the visible bulb and filament are made glowing by the invisible electricity underlying it, which is the substratum of that glowing bulb. In the same way, the Shariratrayams are alive, they are sentient, they are Chetan only because of the Atma underlying these three bodies. Atma is invisible and the Shariratrayams are visible or experienceable. And this Atma, it is the fourth factor in the personality of every individual. Okay, the fourth factor which we always take for granted, which we because it is invisible, we always take it for granted. We just see the Shariratrayam, that okay, we are the Shariratrayam. But in reality, the individual's personality has these four factors: Sthula Shariram plus Karana Shariram plus Sukshma Shariram plus the Atma. So we are actually a mixture of inert and Chetan Tattva, inert and conscious Tattva. So we are a mixture of Anatma and Atma. Okay, both these words you have to remember, Anatma and Atma. So all these three Sharirams, they are the Anatma part of our personality, and consciousness is the Atma part of our personality. We also call them matter and spirit. Anatma is matter and Atma could be called as spirit. Okay, consciousness. So now coming back to this bulb and electricity analogy. See, there are so many different kinds of bulbs in the world, no? Round bulb, flat, tube shape, so many different kinds of bulbs. But all these different bulbs, they are made to glow with just one single principle, which is electricity. We can't say that there is different electricity in this tube light, there is different electricity in this other bulb, in this other tube light. There is different electricity in the fan. Why even bulbs or tube lights? We don't say that there is different electricity. There is just one single principle which is enlivening all these electronic gadgets, right? That is the principle of electricity. So one electricity that lightens up all these bulbs. In the same way, there are millions of different jivas in this world. And so there are millions of Shariratrayams also, correct? My Shariratrayam, your Shariratrayam, millions of Shariratrayams. But all the different visible Shariratrayams in the world, all the different jivas in the universe, they are made alive, they are made conscious, they are made Chetan, sentient, only by one single invisible principle, which is the Atma. Okay, it is one single, that Atma blesses all the insentient Shariratrayam with sentiency. It blesses all the inert to be alive. Okay, Atma is the nature of consciousness itself. So it's not that there is a different Atma in you, like there is no different electricity in this bulb, that bulb, one single principle. Same way, this one single consciousness principle blesses the Jada Vastu to become Chetan. Okay, and this consciousness or Chittam, Chaitanyam, that is the nature of Atma. Okay, that is the so Atma is Chaitanya Swarupam. It is an inherent nature of Atma. We call it consciousness or Chitta or Chaitanyam or Jnanam. It is an aspect, one inherent nature of Atma. There are two other aspects of the nature of Atma also. First, we saw that consciousness is the inherent nature of Atma. There are other two aspects also but we will look into them a little later. Right now, we just need to understand and absorb, completely grasp that Atma is the non-material consciousness principle that enlivens the insentient, the inert Sharira Trayam. Okay, so Atma is pure consciousness. It is the consciousness principle, Chaitanya. Okay. So there is a question. I will look into that and then. Oh, there is a. Yeah. So the question is, so spirit is the English translation for Atma. Yes, we can say that, spirit. Do plants have Atma? So Atma, every jada or chetan vastu, in fact, has Atma, but the reflection happens or not, that depends on the reflecting medium. As we go further, I will delay answering this question for now, because it will I will have to explain some other concepts. Let's go further and then you ask this question again if I forget to answer. Okay. All right. Okay. So if I start the next part, maybe I might take a little longer. So please tell me whether I should start or should I just stop now. Maybe I might spill over for another 10 minutes or something. If you are okay to, take this week to digest this, then maybe we can start it next class. Or so basically now we are coming to how does this thing actually work. So how do these three inert sharirams actually borrow consciousness? जैसे bulb और electricity में तो समझता है ना कि electricity is passing through wires and conduits. And when the bulb, it comes in contact with that electricity, then the bulb lights up. But what about the Atma? How does the Atma enliven the inert bodies? I see no wires, I see no conduits. So how is it supplying consciousness? So should I stop or should I go further? Somebody just say no. Okay, maybe we'll pause here. You grasp this much. We'll look into it in the next class. Yeah, anything anyone wants to discuss? We still have 4 minutes. Okay. Okay, we'll look into this further. Next few sessions are going to be very important. Yeah, if this is clear, do some mananam on this, okay? Because it is really volatile. It will evaporate if it is not given enough thought, okay? Think about it. Try to, like this week, use in being more aware that like consciously discriminating that, okay, the three jada sharirams, mean the three insentient sharirams, is being enlivened by the fourth factor, which is the Atma. So just have that consciousness throughout the week, that awareness throughout the week, that, okay, these are the three sharirams which are jadam, which are inert, which are insentient, and it is being enlivened by the consciousness principle which is underlying it. Like the electricity and the bulb. Think of the three bodies as the bulb and the consciousness as the electricity. Just have that discrimination. Practice that. All right. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। Thank you, everybody. Namaste.